It's 106 miles to Chicago. We've got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes, it's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses.
Hit it.
Now playing.
Why so serious? What is the Matrix? Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Oh, what's in the I forgot to put the short version on again.
Like scary movies.
What does Marcellus Wallace
I gotta listen to
look
this
like?
shit away.
You talking to me?
But it doesn't record when we talk over it, though, eh?
No, it doesn't record when we talk over it.
Using 20 cues.
I cheated on my wife. Hello, good people, and welcome to the podcast we reviews in 20 Qs, the show where we review a movie by asking 20 weird and wonderful questions about it. As you can tell by the name of the episode, this week it's Blues Brothers. And if I'm going to review the movie Blues Brothers, I've got to get along a couple of brothers that have blue eyes. What the fuck am I talking about?
Who's got blue eyes? Are you the only one here with blue eyes?
I am. But,
Blue eyes.
yeah, so I've had to take a step down and recruit these two assholes. First of which is Matiu, that you've already heard talking. How are you, Matiu?
Yeah, I'm not bad. It's good to be here with the brothers, talking about the brothers. And last week we were with Bad Boys, and now it's just another brotherly love with the brothers that I love.
Yeah, we've gone blues. We've gone Bad Boys, Blues Brothers. What's our next BB movie that we can do?
Yeah. Brown Beard Bandits, maybe? I don't know. Pirates of the Brown Seas. Jeez, there's lots of other movies we could probably watch.
Just on that though, like my three kids all have blue eyes. What's going on there? But
Don't look at me. Don't look at the only dude here that has blue eyes.
the only blue-eyed guy in the room. Yeah.
Oh, me, myself, and Irene.
Yeah. I guess you.
I didn't even know you when I was fathering your children. So
Yeah. Not in the country, a likely story. No, I'm doing well, thanhes, Sam.
I have noticed your son goes a bit weird around KFC. So
Yeah.
you were saying it's like a gluten intolerance or whatever, but
Yeah. He's like it's like the kryptonite to KFC.
so yeah, Blues Brothers. As I mentioned on the Die Hard with a Vengeance episode, we are doing throwbacks to films that are celebrating an anniversary, and this film came out 40 years ago this month. Can you guys believe it?
It's older than me.
It is.
It's older than all of us, I think.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Machiu's looking a bit shady about it.
He's like counting on his fingers. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. What came first, Machu or the movie? I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, before we get into it, if you're not planning on rewatching this film or you haven't seen this film and you want to know what it's all about, whoever's watched it recently is going to give us a plot. Machiu,
Right, yeah.
what's the plot of the film Blues Brothers?
I just finished watching it this morning at 2:30 in the morning. So I guess the plot of the film is Juliet Jake Blues. It was funny, I didn't realize his first name was Juliet.
Joliet.
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 Juliet.
That was the prison he was in.
Yeah, but his name is Joliet, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he was recently released from prison. He reunites with his brother, goes back to the church, and gets sent on a mission from God to raise some money to pay off the taxes that were owed by the church orphanage. So his mission is to get the band together and raise some money. And along the way, they seem to break every law known to man. They hustle, they cheat people out of money, and double cross seemingly everybody that they meet along the way, and end up getting chased all the way to the county office, which is basically the mission from God.
Yeah, starring John Belushi as Joliet Jake, Dan Aykroyd as Elwood, also with sort of cameo appearances from a lot of famous musicians. I mean, we've got Ray Charles, Aretha Franklin, John Lee Hooker.
Cab Calloway.
Yeah, Cab Calloway. There's a lot of James Brown.
Yeah.
There's a lot of famous musicians in this.
You said
Shaka Khan.
Aretha Franklin, did you say her?
Yeah, Aretha Franklin.
Shaka Khan. Where was Shaka Khan?
She was the choir soloist.
Ah.
Soloist. Fucking hell.
But not to mention a few other big names in there as well. Carrie Fisher.
Yep.
Twiggy.
Twiggy. John Candy.
That's right.
Yeah, John Candy, yeah.
John Candy pops up for a little bit of a role. There's tons of famous people in this. Frank Oz.
Yep.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg.
Yeah. He's the guy at the
Really?
end, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct. Mr.
Yep.
T.
Yep.
He was a guy on the street. Uncle Phil.
Uncle Phil.
Phil was one of the guys dancing outside of Ray's place.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. There's all the trivia for you. Directed by John Landis. Yeah, as I said, came out in 1980, written by Dan Aykroyd and John Landis. Anyway, looking at the reviews for this film, IMDb have it at 7.9 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes has it at 84%. Metacritic at 60%. And normally we'd give our scores now, but instead we are going to get into our first question, which is either the compliment sandwich or the shit sandwich, depending on whether we're going to give this a score over 5,000 or not.
Oh, I'm definitely going for a compliment sandwich.
You
on this
are?
one.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. You're going to lead us off, are you? Are you doing question?
I will lead us off, yes.
Okay,
I want to
excellent.
ask you a bunch of questions. Answered immediately.
Immediately. My first good thing, how good is Crazy Carrie Fisher?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a role that she owns. That's similar to, it must be right at her prime. Straight after Star Wars, wasn't it?
Kind of mid Star Wars. It would have been
No,
after.
it was the same year as Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah,
It was
same
1980.
year. Yeah.
Oh, this is straight after Leia chained up to Jabba the Hutt.
But before Jabba the Hutt.
Oh, before Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is before it, bro.
Does she hook up with Luke and
I got to lay off
Empire
the bagels.
Strikes-
Yes, this is straight after she pashed her brother. Oh, it wasn't a pash. It was just a closed mouth kiss on the lips. Let's not talk about that. Anyway, yes, continue, Kahu. What are good things?
Like her and John Belushi weren't a good combo in terms of drugs, is that right?
Yes, they were both massive coke fiends.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's where it started.
So that's probably why she looks very crazy in this movie. Hard to find bad things in this movie. It's a pretty good film. But why do the good old boys turn up so late for their gig? Like,
That's your bad thing, is why does somebody tell...
Well, it's a bit nonsensical, though, to be honest.
Yeah, it is, but
I mean, the movie
it is
is
the
a
plot.
bit
Come on, man.
nonsensical. Yeah, that was like very convenient plot that they turn up late. Like,
Yes, plot armor. That's the
it's
reason
clearly
why.
well past midnight,
Yeah.
and here's the gig. Why are they so late? But anyway, and good. That final car chase is just so good.
It's epic, eh?
It is so good, and apart from I think one of the Matrix movies and one other movie that came out soon afterwards, it's like the record for number of cars destroyed,
Oh, really?
which is magic. Yeah,
Yeah.
The Matrix movie. I can't remember.
yeah. I don't remember that either, but I think it was Matrix movie. Not
It
sure.
was the second Matrix Reloaded, I think, when they filmed it on the motorway that they built specifically for the film. They ended up spending like $2 million actually building 250 meters of freeway, which they used for that movie.
Geez, I wish we could build our roads for that much. Oh, well, that's probably why nobody remembers it, because it was in the second Matrix movie.
Yeah. The good one. Yeah.
Yeah, so my good thing for this film is John Belushi. He's just what an incredible performance from a actor, singer, performer. I just think he owns the role. You know, you could just see him as a band member. He can obviously sing. He's got a little bit of movement, and he's got that whole demeanor about him locked down. So yeah, thought he was awesome in the film. And I thought his co-star Dan Aykroyd was probably just a massive blight on the film.
What?
He
Save
can't
that for the
sing.
controversial
he
opinion.
can't sing. He
Holy
can't
shit, save the
dance.
controversial,
He
yeah.
can't. What is it? This guy is. Could they not find anyone else? He just doesn't.
He wrote the fucking movie,
I
man.
know, and he. I think he's the reason why there was such a thing as the Blues Brothers.
How-
and
how
I just wish he wasn't part of it. I just wish he wasn't a blues brother.
How young does he look in this film, though, compared to Ghostbusters, which was what, 5 years later, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He tries to put on this accent, and it just doesn't work. I don't know.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, it just doesn't. He's the most.
I really don't know
honest
where the fuck
character.
you're coming from when they say...
He's
Like,
terrible.
really?
He's awful.
Oh, this is unreal, man. I don't know where you're coming from.
Yeah, I don't
John
agree.
Belushi, perfect. Dan Aykroyd, worst casting choice in the 80s.
Definitely taken too soon, though. John Belushi.
Oh, yeah,
Belushi,
absolutely. Yeah.
Instead, we got left with Jim Belushi and crap movies like K9.
Don't you say a single bad thing about Jim Belushi. I can't name another movie he's in, but he's a walking legend.
And lastly, I mean, surely, Sam, this is the one musical that you're on board with. It's the greatest musical of movie history.
Fucky, all your controversial opinions are coming out already,
Yeah, you got the wrong question.
What's going to beat it? Labyrinth? No way.
Team America World Police?
Yeah.
Team America World Police. It's it doesn't. No.
No,
I don't know where you're coming from.
I agree
some
with
of
you
those.
on that last one. You can't do a movie where it's just music and singing the whole way through.
Yeah.
And the music in this is by great performers. So.
Yeah, some of the
Yeah.
best.
I don't know where you're coming from some of your stuff there, Matiu, but my first good thing is I love the humor in this because it's just sheer preposterousness.
Yeah.
Like, and they just do not react at all at how insane things are like going on around them. Like their entire bloody place that they're crashing or whatever, their men's refuge or whatever you call it, like blows up around them. They just get up.
Men's refuge. It's
Like they're crashing. It's like I can't remember the name of it, but it's like it's like dossing place basically.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
somewhere you just go crash or whatever. But yeah, it like blows up around them. They just get up, walk it off. They get like exploded inside a phone box. Get up, walk it off. Like they're just so like nonchalant about every crazy thing that's happening around them, which I absolutely love. Yeah, the bad thing, Dan Aykroyd in this movie is
he's terrible. Even his character's terrible. Even I hate Elwood as well. I think I hate Elwood because Dan Aykroyd plays him.
Oh, look at your face. No, I thought Dan Aykroyd was good in this. I'm just taking the piss. I don't know. The bad thing. I've got common sense. No, the bad thing for me was like you can tell this was made in 1980. There's like a production level to it that doesn't really hold up that well.
Yeah.
Like don't get me wrong. Like my final good thing is the car chaser scene as well, and all that is just like phenomenally well shot and put together. And that sort of like does really well, but there's other scenes that you're like, oh my god, this is very dated.
Yeah.
Probably just two. The bit where the backward flipping police car and the one where the Nazi cars get dropped from an airplane. It feels like those two. Everything else is fine. I thought.
Another good example of that is when they jump the opening bridge early on, and the gap is clearly like 100 meters or something.
Yeah.
And then they go over it and they're real close together.
Again, it's just production. You can just see that they obviously tried their best, but
yeah. What was the budget of this film, Sam? Probably like 20 million, and 19 million of that was cars.
Yeah. It had a budget of $27 million
close.
estimated, and took a worldwide gross of $115 million.
Wow, that must have been the biggest grossing musical comedy when we compare time price value.
Exactly.
Musical car chase comedy.
Yeah, musical car chase. Exactly. Very niche market, but I'd just like to point out there's something, guys. We haven't given our score out of like 10,000 police vehicles.
Yeah, I really rate this movie. I've seen it multiple times. And
You rate this movie?
Rate.
Oh, rates. Right. Okay.
T-E, Sam. Yeah, seen it so many times, and it's great every time. A little bit long, though, so I'm going to give it 8,950 police cars.
Wow. What about you, Matiu?
I thought IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, and Metacritics were got it wrong. IMTB, whatever it is.
IMTB?
You have TB. You got tuberculosis. I thought that had fucking gone extinct.
Yeah, why are we not surprised, Sam?
So I gave this film 9,112 police cars.
Me.
And the only reason why I marked it down is because of that shit old Mr. Aykroyd.
Far out.
See, the length, even though it's not even a massive problem. Like, there's always stuff happening.
Yeah.
You love a good length sometimes, though, don't you?
Yeah, I like good length.
Kahu loves a good length. For me, it is about... I'd see... Okay, first of all, I'm going to preface this and say I'd actually never seen this film before. This was like this was a massive blind spot in my movie viewing history.
Ha! That's what I say to you. All those times where I say, oh, I haven't seen that. And you're like, what? What? You haven't seen that? That's what I say to you.
Yeah, what's...
Oh, when did you watch
This
it?
is a classic.
I've watched it like 100 times. It's been on TV like 5 or 6 times.
You told me last night was the first time you watched it.
I watched it last night just to watch it again for maybe the umpteenth time in a row.
Geez, Sam, I thought you'd been through every movie and 1,001 movies you must see before you die.
No, I had a few blind spots. This is one of them. I'm going to give it 8,742.
Whoa!
This movie rocks.
This is a musical. Sam.
Yep. I'm saving for my controversial opinion, Matiu. So even dick.
We're basically all in agreement. I don't know if that's ever happened.
Not on the same episode, no. But we've all given high
not
scores
recently.
before.
Not recently.
Not for some time. Anywho, that moves us over to question number 2. What is it there, Kahu?
Question 2. What's something you noticed that you don't think other people might have immediately noticed?
I noticed that the Blues Brothers is a real band. I know they sing a lot of covers in the film, but they're actually they were a band before the movie, and they have their own albums. And this wasn't a film, that started the Blues Brothers. Blues Brothers are sort of already on a bit of a path of righteousness before that. They were already on a mission of God even before the film started.
So all the guys in this movie were already a band called the Blues Brothers. Is that what you're saying?
There was
or were they a Saturday Night Live sketch?
They were both. They started as a Saturday Night Live sketch, and then they they began the band. I'm pretty sure that their first album was prior to this film.
Holy shit.
I'm pretty sure,
Even Murph.
but I'm about to Google it.
Even Murph. Even Murph.
Yeah, so a lot of the band members for the movie were brought in, but they were already a band. So Dan Aykroyd and Jim Belushi had a big had a rhythm section, and they had a horn section as part of their band before the movie.
Do you mean John Belushi?
Jim Belushi, I'll stand. Jimmy John.
There's a big difference.
You mean Jeremy Belushi?
Jeremy Belushi, Jimmy Joliet, Jake Blues, Jim Belushi.
Jim Belushi does look a little
Jemima
bit like
Belushi.
Steven Seagal.
And so you noticed that in this film, that they already had an existing band.
Yeah, Machu saw them perform and he was like, oh, they were already a band.
I've listened to this.
Yeah.
I've listened to this before when I was -2.
Back when I was, yeah. Back when I was actually born in 1970.
Back in 79.
Fair enough. Hey, I mentioned a couple of cameos that I noticed, which is obviously Frank Oz was the prison warden that was giving him all the stuff. Steven Spielberg was the one that took the $5,000 at the end. But did you guys recognize the little kid trying to steal the guitar?
No, I know who you mean, but I didn't recognize him.
You didn't recognize him? You didn't recognize Devereaux White, I believe is his
Oh.
name?
No. Who's
He
that?
is famous for probably one of my favorite 80s movies after Empire Strikes Back. He plays Argyle in Die Hard.
Ah. Oh, right.
Yes.
the police officer.
No,
No,
in the limo.
The guy in the limo.
Oh,
Argyle that's on the
yeah,
phone.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
hey, I've got all these, chicks going and all this other stuff. Yeah. That's Argyle.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. He's a blink and you miss it sort of cameo, but yeah, that's him.
I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
Fun facts. So the thing that I noticed was, after Jake first gets out of prison and they go to see the penguin, and then they go to see that other dude, Curtis, and then they end up at the church.
Yep.
And it's a real gospel church, and they're doing all the singing and everything. And Jake does his like back flips or front flips or whatever, dances a bit, and then goes to the back. And then Elwood goes in and he does all his dancing and stuff. And Jake's still dancing away at the back. And Elwood goes to the back, and then it cuts to the rest of the church. And you see them, and they're standing there with their arms folded like this. And then in the very next scene, they're dancing hardcore again. And so there's like this real continuity problem where they're supposed to be dancing the whole time, but they're standing there with their arms folded. That's weird.
Catching a breather before Belushi's heart explodes.
You're like, what? What's going on there?
Fair enough. Cool. And that moves us over to question number 3. What is it then? Matiu?
What deep philosophical debate arose in you during this film?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple, one of which I was trying to pose as a question to you guys today over Facebook Messenger. Why is Jake rolling around with a used condom in his, suit? When he gets arrested and then he gets all his clothes off, we don't see him get arrested, but we see him collecting all the stuff at the end.
Yes, so they were at a gig, and then they drank too much beer, so he had to stick up a store to pay off their beer tab, right? That's
The petrol station. So why would you have a used condom at a petrol station,
he's
bro?
been working.
Do I need to insert a marker before something?
He's been working and working.
Yeah. Twiggy was probably at that service station, to be honest.
Right, got you. Yeah.
And he filled up her car, and then he filled her up again.
Oh.
Well, he didn't fill her up because the condom was filled up, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I reckon he's
You don't need to answer this question. This is my deep philosophical debate. I don't need to know your guys' answers.
It's like Inception. I'm answering your question with a question.
just leave it as a deep philosophical debate.
Well, no, I'm going to tell you anyway.
You're a sick man. You're not allowed on the internet, remember? Why were we going to...
I think he's had one of those enforced sterility procedures in prison, but before that, he's kept a souvenir.
Oh, so he can pass on his seed.
Well,
is he expecting his semen to still be
except
fully
he
functional
won't
4
because
years after he's been
he
arrested?
clearly doesn't know about cryogenics or anything.
Exactly.
For me, it was that question again of, is it okay to be laughing at Nazism in a movie? It's just like, you feel so kind of awkward and bad about it.
Especially in today's day and age, to see a whole bunch of Nazis on the street protesting their rights to free speech.
Yeah.
With everything that's going on at the moment, it was fascinating to see that in a movie from, 40 years ago, and think they're still going through these problems. The Nazis lost. If you're a Nazi, you can fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, it's great that, we can laugh about that and just show that we don't give a shit, and that, Nazism is so dead, but
It's a
that's the
joke.
ultimate way to kind of get back at hatred like that. But on the other hand, it's like, oh, such a horrible thing.
So I guess when I was watching this film, I was thinking, apart from the Blues Brothers, everyone else is having like a midlife crisis. Like they've moved on from the band, they're living their life, and all of a sudden the Blues Brothers turn up. And I just thought, I wonder if one of my mates had turned up and said to me, "Should we start the band? Should we start the band that we started up in at university, and get back out there?"
We don't need a story about your band from university again.
What instrument did you play there, Matiu?
I wrote the songs. I wrote some great songs like "I'm the best at sex in the world," and I just got out of jail. No jail.
Is that
could
the same
hold
song,
man
or is that
who
two
could have
different
the
songs?
best sex in the world?
The same. He tried playing this to me at 3:00 in the morning one night. I just woke up and he was in my bedroom like, "Hey bro, check this out." And I was like, "What the fuck are you doing in here?"
Bladesman, if you're out there, should we start the band? Should we get back together?
That moves
I'm
us
on
over
a
to
mission
question
from
number
God.
4.
How funny is it though that Jake just assumes that the band has just been waiting for him for 3 years while he's been in prison?
He hasn't even waited like a couple of hours before he's get this realization that we should get the band back together.
Yeah,
Yeah, at least Elwood's kind of like everyone's moved on. Like,
yeah.
Like, what are you expecting?
He didn't see the light. The light didn't shine down on Elwood. It only shone on Jake. So he's just going along blindly. He's saying, "We're on a mission from God." Sorry, Elwood, you didn't get the light. You're on your own fucking mission.
You really hate this guy, eh?
It's the band. It's the band.
Only Jake saw the light. It's his mission from God. He's the one that's on the mission.
They say that over and over again about 15 times.
And you know what? The only reason why they go back to jail is because of Elwood. If Elwood had just been a good guy and hadn't broken all the laws before Jake got out, he'd be fine. They could have just done the gig, made the money, paid off the taxes, and they'd be fine.
What do you reckon it is that pissed off Matiu as a child that he hates Dan Aykroyd? Were you called Conehead at school? Was that it? You were called Conehead or something, eh? And you've hated Dan Aykroyd ever since.
Fuck those Ghostbusters.
And
People used to call you Slimer, eh?
I'm a Slimer.
Yeah, I knew it.
Can't catch me, Dan Aykroyd.
And that's 35 minutes, and we're on question 3.
Yeah, exactly. God, I love editing. That moves us over to question number 4. This is a Patreon question. This comes courtesy of the amazing man, there's Dave Baker. Dave has his own Patreon at patreon.com/yourfavorite. It's pretty damn awesome. You guys should all go check it out. And what Dave would like to know is which character from this film would have the best social media presence and on what platform?
I'm going to say it'll be the good old boys, and they'll be on MySpace because they just seem a bit backward.
Is MySpace still going? I can tell you it's not, because I was just trying to find where the Bladesman songs were.
Oh, God.
Nowhere.
I had Matt Guitar Murphy on YouTube teaching people how to play the guitar whilst getting humongous biceps, because man, he was ripped.
He was, he was pretty tanked.
He looks like a linebacker.
Great haircut too, with that mullet down the back.
I reckon it's just Twiggy. She's like one of the world's most famous models. Okay, someone's just cracked an immediate erection.
Of course. Go for the easy answer.
Phenomenal. How did your laptop flip off your lap like that? That's actually kind of impressive.
Yeah, what's that insurance
My
claim gonna
laptop,
look
my
like?
laptop is like one of those magazines that get stuck together, right?
You know this is going out on the internet, hey?
I know.
We're going to get you drinking bourbon more often, man. This is great.
Yeah, we have 9 subscribers now. You got to watch yourself.
Anywho. But yeah, it's got to be Twiggy. Twiggy on Instagram. That would be my answer. And that moves us over to question number 5. What is it there, Kahu?
What film would hook up with this movie if it got the chance?
It's got to be La La Land, because La La Land was a shit musical, and they're just looking for something to hang out with that actually got the was pretty decent. So yeah, they're definitely moving up in the world if they hook up with this film, and I think that's the attractiveness for La La Land.
Amen, brother. Take the piss out of La La Land.
Seems like a bit of a power imbalanced relationship there.
Yeah, but like if you're at a bar and you see the hottest the Blues Brothers, hottest act in town.
Yeah, Rawhide. It'll get you going.
Have you guys seen the 2019 film Hustlers?
No.
In which
Yes.
Jennifer Lopez is a stripper.
Oh, yeah, I know the
Started
film you
watching
mean.
this and I-
Constant Woo. Yeah, they play strippers that basically sort of sidle up to rich, drunk dudes and then take all their money. I could imagine them doing that to this movie. As soon as the Blues Brothers had some cash, they'd be just like scrangling their way up there like, "Hey, how's it going?" and then ripping them off. And Blues Brothers wouldn't care. They'd just go along with it.
How are they going to rip off the Blues Brothers? Are you serious?
Right at the end, they've got thousands of dollars. They've just been given a recording deal and shit like that.
They go through the movie ripping everybody off, and you think somehow that the hustlers are going to rip them off.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
When you think about it,
Why not?
It's
Who
a little
cares?
bit sad. They do this big gig, put all this effort into it, and then they have to go and pay pretty much all of it in tax.
Yeah.
Like,
and then they
how
just go
shit is
straight to
that?
jail.
Yeah. Great work, guys.
It's like the shittest version of Monopoly ever. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
do not collect $200, go directly to jail.
Yeah. I'm going with Police Academy.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
be like
Yeah, that's a good one.
OD on slapstick humor.
Yeah, I can dig that. That's a good answer.
All right, question number 6. Which side character would make for the best spin-off movie?
And this question comes courtesy of the amazing woman that is Emily Higgins of the Tasters podcast. Go check out her podcast. It's flipping awesome. You guys know all about her. She's flipping great. How many flippins can I put in one sentence? Not flipping enough when I describe Emily Higgins because she's amazing. Anywho, definitely Carrie Fisher. She's going around destroying buildings with rocket launchers. That's the type of movie I want to watch. Princess Leia, man.
Yeah.
There it is. There it is. She's a legend.
Chuck
She's
a chain around her neck
legend.
and get her in a bikini.
He
Jesus.
just wants to see that hairstyle again.
What, the little like buns on the side of
The side buns.
Yeah, the side buns. No, but I mean, I loved Carrie Fisher. She was great.
Cab Calloway, Curtis. I'd like to see him do something in his own film.
What about you, Machu? What spin-off do you want to see?
The spin-off of Aretha Franklin and the diner. I just think that would be hilarious, watching her boss around those guys and different musicians coming in and jamming out. Yeah, that could be. That's just got the makings for a little sitcom all over it.
Yes.
Sure. Don't get me wrong, I love Aretha Franklin, but I don't know what. Oh, a sitcom, right? So a
Yeah,
TV show, right?
Yeah.
So not a spin-off movie like the question asked. you want? Oh my! fuck.
Oh no!
So you want a
sorry.
TV show?
I might watch that
Sure.
if I had nothing else to watch.
I want to watch your guys' movies.
And
You
it
don't
was,
want to see Carrie Fisher rolling
it was
around
still
with
locked down.
a rocket launcher blowing up buildings. Like a female assassin film, man. She's been jilted at the altar. She's going around destroying buildings, trying to kill people.
Yeah, I just don't
Carrie
get into
Fisher, the
Carrie
assassin.
Fisher in a cardigan. Not for me. Sorry.
What do you got against cardigans?
Cardigans and those corduroy pants that she was wearing.
A cardigan is like that item of clothing that looks like it'll keep you warm, but it doesn't.
Pretty much. Anywho, that moves us over to question number 7, which is also a Patreon question. This question comes courtesy of the amazing man that is Dan Brennick. Dan is one half of the Netflix and Swill podcast, a podcast that just covers everything Netflix related, new films, TV shows, news, etc., etc. And what Dan would like to know is where would we have inserted Blink-182's song, All the Small Things, into this film?
It's got to be the first car chase scene in the mall where they're just aimlessly driving around the mall, and it's a bit stupid, and the song sort of fits, some kind of stupid act, and they're running over all the small things, and then that comes on.
Fair enough. Yep.
I think it'd kind of ruin this movie actually if it was in it. But
Oh, you're kidding! You're kidding!
for the
A movie
sake of an
about blues
answer,
music.
after Aretha Franklin sings "Freedom," I reckon if Lou and what's the other guy's name?
Matt Guitar Murphy.
Yeah. If they started like jamming to that, like it'd just be like a total beatdown to her whole freedom thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's no real awesome place to put this into the film. What about bloody Ray Charles? Imagine him just sitting at his piano and going, "This piano totally works," and then just plays all the small things.
And they're all grooving out on the street.
Yeah, they're just all bopping hard on the street to Ray Charles, playing all the small things on a piano.
He'd probably do it justice, to be honest. He's awesome.
Yeah, that's true. That moves us over to question number 8. What is it there, Kahu?
Number 8. What's your most controversial opinion about this film?
Much has already given us about 50, so what else do you have, Machu?
It's just a bad casting choice. Dan Aykroyd ruins the film. And why does Elwood have to just explain the reasons why he's doing things? Like, can't we just see what he's doing and he doesn't have to explain everything? Like glue, strong stuff. Yeah, we've figured that out. You've put something on the accelerator of the good old boys, and it's obviously sticking to the floor. Why do you have to explain it? Why do you even have to have talking lines, Dan Aykroyd? Why do you even have to be in the movie, Dan Aykroyd? Couldn't it just be the Blue Brother instead of the Blues Brothers?
The Blue Brother. Look, he blew himself.
If anything, he hardly has any dialogue. Like
Neither of them have any dialogue.
his explanation for everything is, "We're on a mission from God."
That's all
He's
he
not on a mission from God. He isn't. Only Jake is. Only Jake is.
But they're
not
brothers, so his mission
Yeah,
is his mission.
but why is
Do you
it?
not understand sharing the workload?
His actual line should be, "I'm
Right now,
hanging out."
we're doing a podcast. You're not the one that's going to be fucking editing this and putting it on the internet and everything like that.
Many hands
Are you?
make light work.
Exactly. Eat a dick, son.
I'm following my brother who's on a mission from God, is what he should have been saying.
Yeah, I mean, my one's pretty straightforward. This is Dan Aykroyd's, and it's John Belushi's best film.
I'd agree with that.
I would rate this over Ghostbusters, and I would rate this over Animal House. I reckon this is the best film that these two are in.
Over Animal House. Animal House is awesome, though.
Oh, it hasn't dated very well, bro. But sort of like, yeah, it was funny at the time, but yeah.
So my one was, and this was kind of on your point earlier, is that it does look a bit cobbled together at times.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
yeah. You kind of do notice it, but I don't think it's too controversial. It kind of just is what it is.
It's because there's a lot of practical effects in it. It does strike you as like they had one or two chances at doing this, and they've just used the best they got.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what I was meaning before.
Only so many cars you can destroy. But how good is that they actually use real things instead of just CGI?
Give me practical effects any day, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I love them.
Like, you appreciate it a lot more, even if it's not quite perfect.
Yeah. Anywho, that moves us down to question number 9. What is it there, Matiu?
What quote from this film would be the worst to hear straight after you finish having sex?
Oh, you fat penguin.
That's too close to home for me. I don't know why I'm laughing. You're going to look pretty funny trying to eat corn on the cob with no fucking teeth.
Oh, no.
What do you got there, Matiu?
The little girls, your daughters, sell them to me. Sell me your children.
Yeah, moving on.
And the final question from our questions that can be applied to any film is a new question, which kind of I sort of thought of before I even decided to pick this film, and now it kind of ruins by this film, given that the two main characters end up in jail. But the question is, which character from this film is probably in jail right now? And we've ruled out the two brothers.
Don't most of the band end up in jail?
Why? Why are they in jail?
I don't feel like the band would be in jail. I mean, they've done nothing illegal.
But they are in jail at the end.
Yeah, at the end.
Oh, yeah. I
whole-
don't remember that part.
Yeah, they're definitely in jail. I don't understand why they're in jail, though. What do they do wrong?
Yeah, aiding and abetting a fugitive.
I'm going with Mr. Fabulous. That's an organised crime name right there.
Mr. Fabulous.
He's clearly going to be in jail. I can see him ripping off rich people.
Yeah.
John Candy just looks shady. His character, I just think he's corrupt. He'll be in jail.
What about Carrie Fisher? She's going around trying to murder some dude that pissed her off.
No one's going to arrest her.
Yeah, I reckon she'd get away with it. I think she'd just go, I'm Carrie Fisher.
What are you doing with a rocket launcher? I'm Carrie Fisher. Oh, it makes sense.
That's a valid point, miss. I'm sorry. I'll see you later. Okay, that moves us over to our personal questions. What do you got there, Matiu? What's your first this week? What do you got?
So question number 11, the Bluesmobile was just a great car and it outpaced every other vehicle on the road. So can you name a car from another movie that would have caught the Bluesmobile?
It's very period specific, so I'm going DeLorean.
Dick.
That's why I got him first.
I knew it. I could tell by the way you were staring at me.
How's it going to catch it? It's made of aluminium. Don't you remember when he's chasing Biff and he couldn't catch the car because it would have torn it to shreds?
It's pretty easy to catch a car.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
It'll just go into the future and be at the finish line.
Exactly. Just pop out in front of the other one. As fast as the cop car is, I mean, and I will go sort of 80s specific as well. Kit from Knight Rider.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
Kit's
yeah.
pretty awesome. Question number 12. Which person or group of people in this film had the worst run-in with the Blues Brothers? Like, who was most affected?
I reckon the Nazis, and thank fucking Christ. Fuckers can fuck right off. Basically, I mean, like, we see them get pushed off the bridge or jump out of the way of the car. But then right at the end, like you mentioned it before, when they're chasing after the Blues Brothers, they effectively get shot out of a cannon or something. Hey?
They get let go for about 20,000 feet in the air.
Yeah. They
I
go
don't
off
know
the
how
edge.
that happened.
They go off the edge of a flyover, but the flyover is about 17 kilometers up in the air.
That's straight murder, death, kill there, eh?
Yeah.
So two
riddance.
deaths.
Fuck
Yeah.
those guys.
I'm going with the two troopers. They just get screwed over the whole way through the movie.
Oh,
I've had
that's a
two
good
near-death
answer.
experiences.
Yeah,
Far
yeah.
out. They've
Like-
definitely lost their jobs, eh? They
Yeah.
would have had to turn in their badge. And
I mean,
all
the
that.
thing is, they're just trying to do their job, you know? They're just trying to arrest this guy for having like 50 odd
Like 100
vehicle
felonies?
driving convictions or infringements or whatever, and they just get screwed over every time.
I think the band gets a bad bloody deal as well. They end up in prison.
Yeah,
They were living their lives, going happily about their day, and next thing they're in prison.
That's the thing, like they're in gainful employment. You know, like one of them's working for a fancy restaurant, and another one's working as a fry cook. Like, they've got jobs.
They've got partners and everything.
Yeah, they're way too easy to join the band again, eh?
Yeah.
What about the guys at the old men's refuge?
Oh yeah, they get blown up.
We don't hear what happens to them. Yeah.
So they save the orphanage, and everyone else they meet is just their lives are pretty much turned upside down.
Yeah, those men's refuge guys, they're the ultimate red shirts, eh? Like, the only nameable characters that you care about, they all survive, but who gives a shit of the other guys?
Imagine if you had a shop in that mall. You wouldn't be going to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. Question number 13. How would you tell your significant other that you were quitting your job to join the Blues Brothers?
A lot of people believe that chivalry is dead in this day and age, that, you know, like guys aren't really upstanding dudes that, you know, do the right thing. And I completely agree with that. I just flick her a text and fuck it on my way, you know?
You just take your apron off and throw it at her face as they
Say. Say.
He did, actually, Matt Guitar Murphy, he didn't say anything, did he?
Yeah,
He
I just wanted
threw it
to
at her
know.
face and wandered off.
Gave her the eyes.
Here's my apron. Right. So, Kahu, before you answer this question, you've actually done this, haven't you?
What?
I wouldn't say you've quit your job, but you have sort of...
Quitting implies that it was permanently. I came back.
You absconded? What's the correct legal term here?
I was on hiatus.
Okay, and that moves me over to my questions. As I've mentioned a couple of times throughout this podcast, we get some incredibly famous musicians in this. Aretha Franklin, James Brown, Ray Charles, John Lee Hooker, Cab Calloway, Chaka Khan. The list goes on and on. It's kind of a rip-off that the main big finale concert involves these two idiots singing their songs. But I want to know from you guys, which one do you reckon? Who do you reckon should have been the musician that sort of sung us out? Like, who should have had the final?
The good old boys. No. I think Ray Charles. Ray Charles is awesome. His song was the highlight for me for the film, and I thought he should have been the main act.
Yeah, Ray is.
Stole my thunder. Even his small acting role was really good, when he wasn't performing.
Yeah.
But okay, in that case, I'll go Aretha Franklin. I mean,
that was my
like
backup.
so many to pick, you know. Yeah, as you said.
She's phenomenal, eh? Like,
Yeah.
that voice is something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really go wrong with any of the answers for that. They're all amazing.
Cab Calloway
talent.
was good, eh? It's to open it up. It's like, man, could have actually been the actual thing.
Yeah.
And he got a better reception as well.
Yeah, and like that becomes the problem with the film, is that when you see these guys do their bit, and then you see like the Blues Brothers do their bit, you're like, okay.
I like John Belushi though. I like his voice. I thought his voice is quite. He's kind of like that Irish guy in the film. Try a Little Tenderness, Man.
The Commitments.
The Commitments. That's the one.
Yeah.
He's got that kind of voice. It's really good. I thought, yeah,
I thought you were thinking of the Irishman.
but not as good as any of the other musicians that could sing in the film. Eh? Like he was good, but he was mediocre compared to Ray Charles, Aretha Franklin, any of the good guys.
What do you reckon about Dan Aykroyd though?
Oh, Dan Aykroyd. Does he sing? Because that wasn't his voice, eh? Whose voice was that? Even the voiceover for Dan Aykroyd was terrible.
Yeah, probably like John Candy or somebody.
John Candy would have been all right. Maybe John Candy should have been Elwood.
He's the polka king of the Midwest.
I love John Candy, eh?
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Another super funny guy who just died too young.
Yeah. My next question. Yeah, we mentioned the scene where the cops and the brothers basically drove through the shopping mall, and it's insane. They literally smashed through everything. I want to know from you guys. Do you guys reckon that the cops and brothers were actually intentionally trying to drive through stores or at the mall?
Oh, absolutely. At one point, the cop cars, I don't know if you guys remember this scene, but they're just doing a donut. They're just driving in a literal circle, round and round and round. And meanwhile, the Blues Brothers are trying to smash their way into every store. You don't actually have to smash into every store.
Yeah.
You can actually go down, at one point they say, the store is so wide, so they had all the opportunity to just miss all the stores, but
Yeah.
but they go and knock into every single one, it seems.
Yeah. At a few points, they're not even like just hitting the store; they just drive right through, and it's like, man, either you guys are the worst drivers, or whoever the janitor is for that store is just polishing it hardcore, like.
You mean like it's completely slippery as shit?
Yeah. In which case, the people actually using the mall would just be slipping over all the time.
Could you guys imagine just being inside that mall and then just 3 cars just come in and just smash into literally everything around you?
I did think with that scene though, why didn't the cops just wait at the exits? Like, where are they? Where are Jake and Elwood gonna go?
Well, you say that, but they drive through a store to get out again. It's like a Toys R Us or something.
Yeah.
There's some guy that was trying to. Oh no, it was that guy was the one at the start. Hey, when he was like, "Oh, do you have a Miss Piggy?" And then they just smash through a toy store,
Yeah.
and then get out the end. But they leave for a JCPenney or something like that, like a clothing store.
But the cops clearly have backup, so just close off the exits. And I mean, a vehicle.
Don't try to apply common sense to this.
A vehicle driving around the mall is clearly a bit of a major incident,
It's almost like it's dangerous to drive at night with sunglasses on.
Yeah. They had a prime opportunity there to grab some snacks when they drove through the bakery. I fully expected them to. They were both hungry.
Yeah.
I like how they just casually commenting on particular stores that they drive past.
Yeah.
Oh, look, there's a music store. Oh, I wonder what's in there. Bang, 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 bang.
And how
That's what's in there. Okay, next. Yeah.
how comical was that soundtrack too? So good.
Final question. They show up at Bob's bunker and then sort of hustle their way into having a gig there, and they notice that the stage is completely surrounded with chicken wire, thus implying that that's a pretty rowdy place. I don't know from you guys. If you guys had shown up, the Blues Brothers had said, hey, we're playing here, without any sort of forewarning as to where you guys were going, and, being a little bit suspicious, and they said, you're playing on a stage that's surrounded by chicken wire. Would you guys do it? Would you do it for the money?
I would. But before I did, I'd look around to see if Patrick Swayze was guarding the door. Roadhouse.
Yeah, that's
You want a motherfucker that rips out throats, don't you?
I want to see some roundhouse kicks. I want to see some cowboys get kicked out of the bar.
That movie rocks. We need to do that film, man.
Definitely.
That's a bad sign. I mean, because they keep chucking them when they're playing bad music and when they're playing good music that they like. So that's a rowdy crowd. And more than that, I mean, you're probably going to get mugged when you head back out into the car park later anyways.
Yeah, there's no way of winning.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
If they're hiring people that are specific to that place, and yet they still have to put chicken wire around the outside of it.
Yeah.
How much beer do you have to drink in 1980 to spend $300?
That was my other deep philosophical debate.
Yeah, more than it's cost to hire your band.
So
Man, Bob is an asshole.
Yeah.
He's a total asshole.
Bob is a total asshole. So I did the maths on that today because I was going to do that as a deep philosophical debate. First of all, they're driving around for hours and hours and hours, don't know where they're going, right? So they probably got there, what do you guys reckon, like 9:30, 10? Something like that.
Well, it was before there was anybody in there, so maybe. Yeah,
yes,
maybe.
We'll say
maybe.
Eight or 9 or whatever. That other band shows up and still expects themselves to take the stage. So what time do you reckon they showed up?
Midnight. It's midnight.
Midnight,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to say they were in there for, what, 3 hours
Yeah,
probably?
2-3 hours.
2 or 3 hours, right, okay.
There's how many in the band? About 8?
About 7? 7
Yeah,
or 8?
7, yeah.
How much do you reckon a beer would have cost back in 1980?
I don't know, $1?
$1? Okay. That's
In America.
I don't know.
In America.
We're spitballing here.
Yeah, I reckon maybe 50 cents. 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. We'll imagine that it's $1 a beer.
Yeah.
And there's 7 people in the band. They would have had to have drunk 42 beers each. About 42 beers each in the space of 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
I reckon,
While playing musical instruments.
Yeah, I mean, economics isn't a strong point of this film.
No.
Bob's an arsehole. That's all I can say.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
overinflating his prices, I reckon. 'Cause-
Yeah, he's got that nice country bumpkin thing going on, but he's just an asshole.
Yes, that was my questions. Kahu, what do you got?
My first question, what item of clothing or accessory have you worn that was completely wrong for the conditions?
When I was living over in London, I went to an Australian day at one of the local pubs, and I had to dress up as something Australian. And so I decided to dress up as a jar of Vegemite. But I decided to do it with, like, cheap, no frills. Don't know how we've... like literally spending no money on it. And so what I managed to do is find a gorilla suit that was underneath the stairs of our flat, in our like dress up cupboard, and then just print out a picture of Vegemite and put it on my gorilla suit. I don't know how the hell the gorillas survive in the jungle wearing their suits, man, because those things are hot as hell. So I was in this pub at like midday, surrounded by a whole bunch of drunk Australians. literally a pool of sweat filling up my little gorilla legs.
I like that you had a dress-up cupboard.
Yeah. Oh, it's just life in London, man. We had full dress-up cupboards. You know, like we had gorilla suits, had like onesies, gimp suits, stuff like that. We just had everything. It was amazing.
That was Sam's favourite.
Yeah, Sam.
We're not talking about what's in your drawers. We're talking about what's in the dress-up cupboard.
Oh, yes. Well, they were in my drawers, and then I put them in the cupboard. So, yeah.
Drawers being his underwear.
Yeah.
You got it.
I haven't got anything near as kinky as that.
Bullshit.
I just remember the time when I was in London and I went shopping and everybody was looking at me just because I was wearing the classic Kiwi shorts and jandals in the middle of winter in London. And I just couldn't believe how many eyes were on me every time. I thought, got the look up and down. I was, yeah, it's a hot chick. Oh, that's a dude doing it now. Oh, there's an old lady doing it. What the fuck's wrong with me? Because I was wearing jandals and everybody just couldn't believe it.
Jandals, for our international listeners, are flip-flops. The best way to describe them. They are national New Zealand footwear. We wear them here, there, and everywhere. We'd wear them to weddings. Most of us have worn them to weddings because we all get married at the beach.
Question 18. Why does Lou, the saxophonist, pretty much not talk the entire movie?
Look, if you play saxophone, it's pretty obvious to the ladies that you're really good with your mouth and your fingerings. So, why do you even need to talk? You don't even need to talk, man.
Saxophone.
Why do you need to talk? Didn't you used to play the horn or some kind of musical instrument?
I may have played an instrument at some point in my life.
He used to blow his horn.
You say I used to blow my own trumpet? I did. I used to blow my own trumpet. I used to play the trumpet at some point. And let me tell you, trumpeters don't score shit.
I think working with Aretha Franklin, and she wants her respect. R-E-S-P-C-T.
Nope, still wrong.
R-E-S-P-C-T.
Still wrong.
Respect.
What you just said
R-E-S-P-C-T.
is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
So I don't.
Oh man, I hope your kids don't come to do this.
Is there a spell check on these mics?
R-E-S-P-I-C-7.
Pi 7. R-E-S hieroglyphics 7.
Question mark.
E-T. Yeah. So. And, who's going to talk back to Aretha Franklin when you got Matt Guitar Murphy standing there with his humongous muscle? So I just think he's just been beaten down, standing behind the bar of the diner.
Yeah, he's more of a listener. My final question, Jake and Elwood turn up at Mr. Fabulous's place of work, which is a high-end restaurant. Have you ever had an unexpected person turn up at your workplace? Or maybe somebody you know, but you didn't want them to be there?
I did. There's a famous...
Hey, don't talk about me again, man.
pro sportsman that was notorious for getting into fights and getting drunk and doing stupid stuff. And I had to go down and give him business advice. And I was like, yeah, nah.
Really?
Yeah. I just thought, he's enormous. He punches people for no good reason. He's definitely going to punch me for a good reason, I thought. So.
For legal reasons, I'm not going to name names, I take it? Good. Excellent.
I just don't want to get bashed.
Yeah, fair enough. No, that's completely understandable. One day at work, I went to leave, but couldn't because there's security guards everywhere, and that's because Justin Bieber was at our work.
Is that a big thing? Or
were you sorry he was there?
Yes. I was like, oh baby, no. No, it was really weird. He was signing books at town hall when I was working for council. And so we went to leave and yeah, there was just security everywhere, like screaming girls, like thousands of screaming girls. I was like, oh.
I guess I was pretty horny.
Hey, you're not supposed to use this shit. Anywho, that moves us down to our final question, which was a question that we threw out there to you guys, our dear listeners, to answer for us. And this week's question was, what is your favorite 80s comedy? Why don't we give us top 3?
Number 1, surely it's Airplane.
Yeah. That'd be my 2. Airplane, aka Flying High in America.
And it's quite funny because you're like, Sam Hurley is Shirley.
Yeah.
Don't call me Shirley. But
don't call me Shirley. Don't call me Shirley.
Should call you Shirley because it's...
Yeah, I should go punch you in the fucking face. That'd be pretty funny.
And I like Beverly Hills Cop, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, maybe.
Yeah. This is Spinal Tap would probably be my other one, and Coming to America. I love Coming to America.
I'd definitely go this movie and Airplane. And but my favorite is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Ooh.
Really?
I love Bill and Ted's. It's so good. Wild Stallions.
Don't ever do that again. Yeah, good answer there, guys. As I said, I threw it out there to you guys, our dear listeners, to answer for us. We're just going to quickly fly through what we got. Steve from the Everything I Learned from Movies podcast. How you going, Steve? Thank you for donating on our live stream for The Cure. That was very much appreciated. Steve's going to be on an upcoming episode. We haven't exactly figured out which film we're going to do yet, but I'm going to be guesting on his podcast doing Mum and Dad, the Nicolas Cage film from 2018. He said Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is pretty standard.
It's got Dan Aykroyd in it.
Oh, your favorite actor. Emily from the Tasteless podcast. I love you, Emily. You've almost convinced me to watch this. She said Troop Beverly Hills.
I don't know that.
And look at the blankness surrounding me.
You ever watch any good movies, Emily Higgins?
She did an episode where she said that Scream 3 is better than Knives Out. She reckons Knives Out's overrated.
Well, yeah, probably.
One you back. One you guys back. Tara Mahalik, I love you, Tara, said Better Off Dead. I need to see that. I've never seen Better Off Dead. Better watch that. Julio from the Contrarians podcast, another awesome podcast you guys should all be checking out. So I recently sent them over a bit of a snippet to say why Alien Resurrection sucks. Apparently I should have got you to do that. Apparently you hated Alien Resurrection. Watched it recently.
Yeah, I didn't think it was great.
Yeah, it's not even anywhere near great.
No,
not even
no.
good. It's fucking not even like average.
Yeah. Compared to the other three, it's terrible.
But if you love Winona Ryder movies, Julio is doing a Summer of Winona where they're basically reviewing a whole bunch of Winona Ryder films. And the one he went with was Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice is good.
Yeah, Beetlejuice is good.
Is it a comedy? I guess it is.
The Movie Junior podcast, hello Hendo, how you doing? Said he wants to throw some love to Trading Places. That's a good film. Duty from the Shaken Not Nerd podcast basically just said, I haven't seen it, which isn't a surprise because Duty's seen about 20 films, that's about it. So I said, no surprises there, Duty. What about your favorite 80s comedy being Return of the Jedi? And he said, yeah, Return of the Jedi, for sure. But also Ghostbusters, Groundhog Day, and Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Oh, Back to the Future.
Back to the Future.
Is that a comedy?
Yeah, absolutely is a comedy.
Yeah.
Groundhog Day came out in 1992, Duty, but that's okay. TV's Travis said Ghostbusters, Running Scared, Clue, and Spies Like Us. Vern said Spaceballs. Still makes me laugh.
Oh, Spaceballs.
Yeah, Spaceballs is good. Andre Souza said A Fish Called Wanda. Lemon Juice McGee's mystery tweeter said The Naked Gun.
Oh, The Naked Gun.
Oh, yeah.
Does that
that's
scrape
what I was
in the
thinking
80s,
of.
did it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it must be. I specifically went to Gidget Fonaroo, aka the 80s Queen, to answer this question for us. Because Gidget is one half of the Retro Cinema podcast that do nothing but 80s films. And Gidget said, off the top of her head, Flying High, Top Secret, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, and This Is Spinal Tap. And here's another couple that came in after we finished recording, and I thought it'd be nice and chuck you guys in there anyway. First up, Paul from the Countdown Podcast, going to say a bit more about you soon. Went with Major League, utterly hilarious and charms the pants off me every time. Mario in the bar said, surely going with the classic Airplane, and don't call me Shirley. The Roughhouse Podhausen said, Spaceballs, love that. Nick H, stay the fuck at home. Good call there, mate. Said, Flying High for me / Airplane. Yep. And finally, with my next pick, they said Beverly Hills Cop. Great choice. Also threw it over to our Facebook community, and the answers we got there. First up, Topher from the We Watch the Thing podcast, another awesome podcast you guys should all be checking out. Said, in an era of comedies largely being made for 14-year-old boys, fitting that a film laughing at childish men tops the heap. This is Spinal Tap all the way, and his honourable mention was After Hours.
I haven't seen Spinal Tap.
And then the final one we're going to finish on is Tom Green, who said Summer Rental. Have you guys ever heard of Summer Rental?
Nope.
Is it like the one that Dan Height brought up? The Texas Chainsaw Terminator, Ninja
Terminator. The film that I watched 7 minutes of drunk on YouTube and was just like, how do you put yourself through this? No, it's not. It's John Candy.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
You've seen it?
No.
I've never seen it.
No.
Yes, it is John Candy.
Yes, you said it's John Candy in the artwork.
I was thinking, oh, that looks familiar. And then I realized, I saw that on Facebook as the answer to your question today.
So no Ferris Bueller's Day Off? We didn't get a Ferris Bueller's Day Off in there?
No, and thank God, I hate that movie.
Really?
Yeah, I can't stand that. That guy's a little shithead.
Never seen it.
What?
What?
There it is. There it is.
What? Who's the guy that saw Blues Brothers for the first time? What?
Blues Brothers for the first time, Sam. You need to go home tonight and slap yourself.
What? Oh, I will go home and slap something. I definitely will. But anyway, yeah, that was our listeners' answers. Who do you guys reckon gave the best answers? What was the one that sort of came out of nowhere there for you guys?
Ooh,
Another 48 Hours was a good pick. I forgot about that one.
Are you talking about 48 Hours, the original, or another 48 Hours?
I don't know, I can't remember. 48 Hours.
You like the sequel over the original? You don't even know what you're talking about right now.
48 Hours. Nick Nolte and... Is it Nick Nolte?
Yeah.
I can't remember. So it's Gary Busey. They're the same. Those guys all look the same.
oh, Gary Busey.
I mean,
Listen, you snot-nosed little shit! I was taking shrapnel and K-Son while you were crapping in your hands and rubbing it on your face!
does that sound like Nick Nolte? Actually, it does a little bit.
Trading Places was a good one.
Yeah, Trading Places. Good on you, Hendo. That was a really good pick.
What was the one that I liked?
Fuck if I know. This is why we've got to start recording earlier, eh?
More beers. More beers.
There was one that I liked, but it wasn't Back to the Future, although I do like that one.
Here's a hot take for you guys. I am not a big fan of Back to the Future.
Oh, we better do that
yeah.
one, and I'm going to destroy you in that one.
You reckon? Yeah. You reckon you're going to destroy
Are
me?
you gonna bark all day, little doggy? Or are you gonna bite?
I'll be biting. So the whole Ginger Princess, where do you think that came from? Your hatred for the fact that...
What? Where's this going?
Naked Gun, that's the one I was thinking of. I like that one.
Ah,
yes,
yeah.
that was right.
Thank you, everyone, for getting back to us. We love hearing your answers. So, yeah. That's the end, really. Yeah, I mean, final thoughts. Fuck it. This is an awesome film. I was, like, really surprised at how good this was.
Yeah, this would be in my, I don't know, maybe top 5 rewatchable movies.
Right, yeah, gotcha.
Yep, I'd say the same. Top 5 rewatchable movies. I'll watch it again probably in
Yeah.
the next couple of years.
One of my favorite films.
What else is up there in your top 5? Like Schindler's List, Requiem for a Dream,
Rewatchable movies.
Black Swan,
Terminator 2,
The Room,
Office Space.
Princess Diaries,
Princess Diaries.
Oh, another comedy from the 80s that nobody
Steel
mentioned.
Magnolias.
Yeah.
You're thinking of Princess Bride. I said Princess Diaries. I'm talking about the Anne Hathaway.
True. Yeah. I always get those two confused.
Sam's top
Holy
5
shit,
is
Kahu's
Little
tired.
Woman,
Such
Annie.
similar films.
Yeah, as I said, thanks again to everyone for listening. Dory is making a triumphant return in an upcoming episode. Me, him, and Matiu are going to do The Water Boy.
Would you call it triumphant?
Well, it's a return. It's a return for Dory, and we're looking forward to getting him back on. Another upcoming episode is Countdown, coming on to do Total Recall. We're going to celebrate the anniversary of that. And a little bit of forewarning on that one. I'm actually going over onto the Countdown podcast to do the top 10 New Zealand films.
Oh.
It's very hard to do a top 10 New Zealand films. We've only watched about 4. So it's,
Yeah. Are they-
isn't there only about 7 in total?
Well, I mean, if you count all the like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, there's 6 for a start.
Yeah.
And then there's 3 Once We're Warriors films. So
That's true. And they filmed some of like Mission Impossible here. They filmed some of the Meg here, Last Samurai.
Yeah.
Pete's Dragon.
We're getting
Pete's Dragon, that's right, Ghost in the Shell. We've had quite a few films filmed in New Zealand.
How many
Without a
Avengers
paddle.
films has there been a New Zealand director or a New Zealand extra that's been on the set? I'm pretty sure all of them.
We're just trying to take the most minimal approach to something ever.
There was a lighting man on pretty much every single Avengers film and the Terminator 2 set as well.
Yeah, there you go. If you want to get in contact with us, you can find us on Twitter at Movie Reviews In. If you want to find us on Facebook, Movie Reviews in 20 Qs. And yeah, that's thanks for me.
Chip.
See you next time.
Yeah.
Insert marker.
Not you inserting a marker.
I used to have
Here we
about
go.
half
More
a centimeter of skin on my, and I could walk on
Was that your
glass.
foreskin?
On my,
Yeah, I
on
was
my
like,
feet.
before I was circumcised.
Barefoot is actually common, like footwear for most New Zealanders as well. Like you see people shopping barefoot in
Yeah.
supermarkets.
In a supermarket, that's not odd.
What are we doing? What the fuck are we doing?
Right.